How many times have you heard about this battle between using one interest per ad set or stacking them? In this video, I am going to tell you the truth, so you could walk away with clarity after watching this. Back then, I used to have one interest per ad set, but now with the sophisticated algorithms that we have, combined interest ad sets is the best approach. Bear with me, I'm gonna prove to you why this is working and why this is the most effective way to run your ads. So let's start with the end goal. Why would we want to start with the end goal? Because this is gonna give us more clarity on what kind of strategy we should use. So you see, these social media ad platforms, their main goal is to keep the user on the platform for as long as possible. So they could show more ads to them because this is their main source of revenue. And they want you to succeed. It's a win-win. The more results as an advertiser or as a business owner you get, the more you'll be willing to invest in their platform. And getting the desired outcomes, it can be sales, engagement, whatever your main objective is, boils down to optimizing your campaigns. Now for the delivery system, in order for them to fully optimize your campaigns, you already probably heard about this, they need to get 50 results. A result is basically your objective, such as conversions, lead, video views, and many other ones. Now, sometimes these 50 results cannot be very achievable for many brands, but here's the truth. The more conversions you get, the more volume it has, the better they can optimize. So it doesn't need to be necessarily 50 conversions a week. You can still optimize your campaigns, but the thing is that if you have less, then it's going to be much harder. So when you split up your budget within multiple ad sets using one interest per ad set, you are limiting yourself because you are not giving a realistic budget for the algorithms to find out and to figure out who to show your ads to. So what happens when you're splitting up your budget within multiple ad sets using one interest per ad set, you are limiting the algorithms, you are suffocating the algorithms to find out and to figure out who to show your ads to. And whoever tells you that you need $5-10 a day budget to run profitably campaigns, that is simply not the truth. Back then, maybe you could get some results, but at this moment, considering the competition, it is simply not working. You need to have a realistic budget, especially if your price points are much higher. If your products cost like $100, $200, $500, you gotta put enough budget. And by consolidating your interest, you can consolidate your budget as well. Now let's have an example. Let's say that we have two ad sets. One is targeting people who are interested in soccer, and one ad set who is targeting people who are interested in Juventus. So basically one interest per ad set. The audience overlap between these two interests is very high. It might be above 50%. And what that means, as time goes on and your ad set has a much larger longevity and it's been spent more money, your auction overlap is gonna be much higher. And usually, as your auction overlap is going up, your return on spend is going down because you are competing with yourself. And I 100% know that a common question that I will get is something like, oh, how do I know, Archie, where my audience is coming from? Which interest is giving me the most results? My answer is, who cares? Like literally ask yourself how this is going to help you to improve your ads, how this is going to help you to get a much higher return on spend, how this is helping you to scale your ads. Let's say that you found out an interest, let's say pets, that is working well. So where do you go from here? Maybe you go and test, let's say, pet lovers or some other interests related to pets, dogs, cats. And like I said, I'm gonna circle back, the auction overlap is gonna be pretty high between those two interests or many other interests, and over time your return on spend is gonna go down because you compete with yourself. On the other hand, you gotta test in isolation other things, not interests. I'm talking about creatives, because when you test in isolation a creative, that is definitely going to give you a much bigger impact onto your return on spend. Let's say that you run a different ad formats and you found out that video is working well. You take that video and you test in isolation the hook or the text overlay. That is gonna give you much better results. And when I was thinking to record this video, I was thinking, why are still people stuck in this type of world strategy? And actually this boils down to the human nature, because we actually look like, okay, we've been learned that, we could test in isolation interest or creatives. Which one is easier? So we wait out to see which one is easier and we take the easiest path. Because taking the easiest path is gonna give us the illusion that we are working and we are optimizing our ads. Now, once you understand why you should not run one interest per ad set, what will be the ideal approach? The ideal approach is to categorize your interest in each ad set. And in fact, I prepare for this video 12 kind of categories that you can use for your business. So this is a spreadsheet that you are gonna get access to. And here you will find out, like I said, 12 topics that you can use for your business. Some of them, maybe they will not resonate with what you are selling, but most of them will definitely help you to come up with new audiences to test. So first one is magazines. Here you want to make sure that you make your customer search and you know what kind of magazines your customer read, maybe on a daily basis or on a weekly basis. The next one is hobbies. So here you gotta think about what kind of activities your ideal customer does in their spare time. Next one is work title, where they work, what kind of cars they love. This one, brand and competitors, I find that it's working quite well. So here you could use some of your competitors or brands that your customer is buying from or they're just interested in. The next one is interests related to your niche. For this particular category, you simply use the interests that are related to what you are selling. In this case, I just gave you some examples of interest related jewelry. After getting access to this spreadsheet, you will be able to edit this. These are just some examples. So the next one, we have events where people can go to, for example, art museum, art exhibition. Then we have lifestyle. Then if your audience is into green living, sustainable, you could use this for one particular ad set. And by the way, when you have like this type of ad set, let's say green living, you could adjust your copy to talk to this audience using some kind of words that talk about sustainability if your business is a sustainable one. Then we have some kind of entertainment, if they are into fitness and what kind of fitness. And then the last one is public figures or people they are following too. And by the way, all these interests, they are targetable, meaning you could use them in the ads manager. And do not request access to this spreadsheet because I'm not gonna give you. What you can do is just click here on file and then click on make a copy and you will get the exact spreadsheet and you will be able to edit. Now, I would emphasize one thing though, we still have an exception. If your audience size for one particular interest is hundreds of millions of people, or if not billions, in that case you could have only one interest because there your audience is broad enough, it's pretty big, like literally you don't need to stack multiple interests there. But on the other hand, if the audience size for our interests are like 1 million, 10 million, a couple hundreds of thousands, in that case make sure you stack them. So what are the advantages of using this type of approach? First of all, I'm gonna circle back to what I said in the beginning. You faster get out of the learning phase and you give much more probabilities for the algorithms to fully optimize your campaigns and your ad sets. The second advantage, your audience is much bigger, and bigger audiences is equal with higher chances to scale. Because let's say that one of your interests got good results, but the audience size is like just 2 million, 3 million. Well, there you cannot scale very much because your audience is pretty limited and you're gonna burn out your audience very, very quickly. So the bigger your audience is, the more probabilities you're gonna have to scale the audience. And the third advantage is less headaches. Imagine you have 10, 20, 30 ad sets. How difficult is to manage that? Where on the other hand, having only 1 or 2 ad sets. That is going to free up a lot of time. Time that you could implement and you could focus and you could work on creatives and copies. Things that will move the needle. To me, when I had to change this strategy, back then it was quite difficult because I used to run one interest per ad set for a while and it was kind of my go-to strategy. But eventually, as the platform is changing, what used to work will no longer work. I literally saw how the results that we were getting at the time with 1 interest per ad set stopped performing. That's why I started implementing this type of approach. So like I said, what used to work will no longer work. That's why on this channel you're gonna find only information that are up to date, so you could get the most sales. So that's it. Be sure to subscribe if you are new here and click on the like button and comment below what your thoughts are on this particular topic. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.